All right, welcome to week 16 of our league
NFL
pick'em
pick.
series. Almost did the patch review for a minute
Oh,
there.
no.
Yeah, we're like a week behind on that,
Been a
by the
while since
way.
I've done one of those, though.
Yeah, my name is Chris, and join with me is my near-death friend Jason.
Hey, well, I think we've both been feeling pretty crappy this week, so we're going to try to speed run it today. But one thing you could feel good about is you got another point on me this week. Tell them about our records.
Yep, that's true. Let's get right into that. We're only three contested picks this week, but I went 2-1 for a total of 12-4 this week, and Jason went 11-5. That extends my league to 4 with an overall record of 154-71, and Jason has 150-75. Still a little wiggle room. I'm not going to call it a victory just yet.
Oh yeah. You never want to start looking back until you reach the end zone. But
Exactly. Don't want to Leon
But
Levitt or whatever.
yeah, I mean, we're both shooting pretty well this season. I mean, even me behind at 150 and 75, getting two-thirds of them right, and you're 4 games ahead of that. Like, bravo to us, I think.
Yeah, I wonder how well I would have done if I wasn't a silly goose for so many of those.
A couple of your silly goose picks ended up working too, but yeah, I felt so good once I saw Kansas City absolutely demolishing Cleveland.
I wouldn't call it a
And
demolish.
then it was demolishment. They definitely demolished Jameis Winston's career. But
That they
but
did.
yeah, your other 2 games came through. Dallas, Carolina wasn't close, and Tampa Bay Chargers surprisingly wasn't close. So good picks there, man.
All right, first up, we got the Rams and Niners. Pretty low scoring game. This effectively eliminates the Niners and basically gives the NFC whatever to the Rams.
Oh no! The Seahawks are still tied with him.
Yeah, but now the Rams basically have the inside track.
I mean, it's they're in a dead heat, I think. But yeah, I believe in the Rams too. That they're looking really good recently, and even without I think they did have 1 touchdown this game with a mixed extra point, if I remember correctly. But even without a lot of points, a lot of touchdowns, anything like that, they felt like they were clearly the better team in this
All
one.
right. Enough.
Okay.
All right, next we got the Cowboys who got the upset win over the Panthers. This was surprisingly dominant.
Upset the Panthers. That's pretty sad.
I know, yeah. They were surprisingly dominant this game for us Panthers who've been playing pretty stout the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, look, Cowboys when they play against a bad team, and Carolina played bad in this one, even though they haven't been a bad team lately.
That says something.
Yeah, Dallas when they play a team that's playing badly can just utterly crush, and that's what they did here. Good for them.
And then we got my lone oof of the week. We got the 27-7 game against the Browns. I know you said demolish, but it's not as if the Chiefs were that dominant in this game. I mean, 2 touchdowns or 3 versus 1. I don't think that's that crazily ahead. I expected more out of Jameis Winston, and he did get benched after this, which is a bummer. So
Yeah, 21-7, just to correct you, but in any case, yeah, the Chiefs just were in full control of this game, and actually, my prop bet last week, which was that Winston would have 5 turnovers, if he were in all game, that almost certainly would have come true. He almost had a 4th while he was playing, where he fumbled the ball early, and I think one of his teammates picked it up. But he had 3 picks. They and I know that we want to speed run this, but this is the one game I really do want to focus in a little bit on. They replaced Jameis Winston sometime I think in the 3rd quarter with Dorian Thompson-Brown. Is that right?
that sounds familiar.
Yeah, and they've said that he's going to be Dorian is going to be the quarterback going forward. James' career is basically over there unless Dorian gets injured in the next week.
Well,
Um,
Jameis might have turned it over something fierce, but I doubt this new kid is going to be able to put up as much as Jameis did.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Obviously, he has a lot more of a bright future than Jameis is. Jameis, I don't want to say has been, right? But he's probably reached the peak of where he's going to get. Obviously you want to help your young quarterbacks grow. You want to try to build them in-house if you can. So I don't hate this decision, but you know what? If they were going to believe in Jameis in the first place, this is not the type of game to lose faith in him. I even said before the week started, Kansas City's defense is exactly the type of defense that's going to make Jameis look bad. Every time, even if Jameis were a better version of Jameis, he would look bad against Kansas City.
Okay, enough about the Browns.
Yeah, like this is just bad management to say we believe in Jameis until he looks bad in exactly the type of game that he should look bad in. You wonder if they ever had a game plan, and you know what? Given that they gave 280 million to to that absolute bag of crap Deshaun Watson, I think the answer is no. They never did.
All right. Next
Yeah.
up, we got the Dolphins coming up short against the Texans. I think we both picked the
Yeah,
Texans,
this
didn't we?
surprised both of us, but this was definitely a Houston game.
Did we both pick
Um,
the Dolphins for this?
We both picked the Dolphins for this.
Oh,
Two
yeah.
ahead, three turnovers, and that's really kind of the story of the game there. Both teams were sloppy. Both teams put the ball on the ground. I think at least twice. Not all of them led to turnovers, but yeah, just sloppy handling from both teams. I think the three interceptions in the air were the reason Miami lost this.
All right. Heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is.
And then next up, an equally heartbreaking game for you. The Jets snapped their 4, 5, 6 game losing streak against the Jags. I
And
think
I
we,
hated this.
yeah, we
Yeah.
both picked the Jets though, so you didn't hate it that much.
I definitely hated it. I wanted to be wrong on this, especially since you would have been wrong too.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Jets offense played its best game in the season, and look against a reasonably good Jets defense. The Jags offense showed a lot of signs of life here. Let's give them credit for that. I was sad to see them give up an important touchdown late.
Then we got the Redskins just barely beating the Saints. It came down to the last play of the game or some 2-point conversion shenanigans.
Yeah, this actually blew a couple of my round robins this week. I would have done a lot better had New Orleans converted that 2-pointer. Regardless, it was surprising. I mean, look, the Commanders were up by 2 touchdowns for a lot of this game, I believe, and New Orleans played a very good end game. And you could even say that maybe they should have just had faith that they could have continued outplaying the Commanders game and just gone for the extra point. But look, there's been a lot of extra point misses this season. I don't hate the decision to go for 2. Commanders really are kind of a chameleon this year. It's hard to tell whether they're great, okay, or bad.
Well, playoffs will sort them out.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we've
Ravens?
got the Ravens
Fine.
taking a complete dump on the Giants. Not much to say
Yeah.
about that game.
Not much to say about this. Anything you could want from the Ravens, they gave you this game. They looked great. Next.
We got the Bengals also taking a rather predictable shit on the Titans, but the Titans actually managed to put up a bunch of points in this game, which I guess also is predictable. So.
Yeah. I mean, Cincinnati's got one of the worst defenses in the league. I think when we took this game, I said this is not even worth giving an iota of thought to the Titans for. And yeah, it wasn't worth giving an iota of thought to the analysis either. Next,
we got a bounce-back game for the Cardinals where they dumpstered the Patriots. Did we both pick the Cardinals for this? Or
both had the Cardinals, but I think we both said this really could kind of go either way. New England is better than we think. Yeah, New England disappointed here.
Then we got a smackdown from my Bronco defense on these Colts. Scored me 40 fantasy points, propelled me to the semifinals.
Yeah,
over
Broncos
here.
look really good, and in half an hour we'll see whether they are for real against the Chargers.
I think they are for real. And speaking of epic games, the game I got to watch with my dad, the Bills survive a shootout against the Lions. I know they gave up a shitload of points, but let's be frank, any team that can beat the Lions is probably going to get a shitload of points scored on them.
What an
So.
absolute privilege it was to watch this game.
It sure was. Josh Allen is just magic, you know?
Yeah, it's like, look, sometimes I feel like I don't have a lot going on in my life, that I can be like really happy about. But man, just a simple pleasure, like being able to watch two great offenses just give their all and create such an interesting storyline throughout the entire thing. It's just it feels like such a privilege, and it just makes
I
me so
know.
happy.
It was
Now,
such a great game to go and see, someone you don't see a lot and watch a game with,
it was, yeah. And in fairness, like Buffalo kind of had this game in hand the entire time because they were kind of that 2 scores up almost the entire game. But Detroit's offense looked so good, and their coach was making bold enough decisions that you could just see that glimmer of how the Lions might get back into it, and they came really close at the end.
Yeah, I think at one point, I think they were down 17, like you said, 2, 3
Yeah.
possessions. But yeah, it was just about the stops. I think the Lions got like 1 stop on the Bills, where I think the Bills got like 3 stops on the Lions.
Early on, the
So
Buffalo Bills, stopped the Lions a bunch. But man, it's just fireworks. What can I say, man? Just like maybe not an all-time great game, but definitely in that second tier, like one of the best of the season.
yeah, it was a great game for cashews, Doritos, cheeseburgers, cheesy sticks. Yeah, a bunch
And
of
fantasy points.
Exactly. Exactly. Fantasy
Yeah.
points. Next up, we got the Tampa against the Chargers. I don't know if you call this an upset, but I don't know who.
I mean,
what
I
did they have to
thought-
favor this? Who was favored in this game for the odds?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I don't remember. I remember I did not touch this game on my betting. I believe the Chargers were favored by like a point or two, and it was probably because they were at home.
2 points, huh?
Something
That's
like
crazy.
that. I don't remember exactly. Yeah.
Well,
Buccaneers were great. Yeah.
yeah, Baker's just been baking the whole year, man. I swear. I think he has a real chance to upset some crazy team in the playoffs. He's in the NFC.
MVP. I'm like, you're insane.
No, I mean he's in the Well, he'll probably win the division, so that means he'll get probably the 4th seed, which means he'll
Yeah.
end up having to play against the 2nd division winner. Or no, he'll play against the next worst division loser. But
If you get the 4th seed, no, you play against the
the 5th seed, the wild card.
Wait, sorry, you're saying he's gonna get the 5th or the 4th?
Well, he'll be probably the worst record of the division winners, so he'll play the first,
You
the
play
highest
against the
wild
fifth
card.
wild card. Right.
And that'll be probably the Vikings or the Lions. I don't know.
I don't know. The Vikings are gonna make the playoffs.
What? You don't think the Vikings are going to make the... Of course they're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I guess you look at their division. Yeah, it would be hard
Dude,
not to.
They could lose the rest of their games and make the playoffs.
Oh no! Wait a minute. They're in the same division as the Packers.
Yeah, they'll all of them have the wild card basically wrapped up.
Do they?
Yeah, I mean, you can't have like 12, 11 wins and not get the wild card unless like 12 teams have like 11 wins. You know?
The Vikings don't have a. Oh my God! The Vikings do have 12 wins. Holy shit! Yeah, you're right.
Okay, next up, we got the Steelers getting dumpstered by the Eagles. I can't believe how one-sided this game was. I wish I could have watched this game, but it was on at the same time as the Bills game. I assume everyone was watching the Bills game, though, even though I would have loved to see this. But yeah, we both picked the Steelers for good reason, obviously. But obviously the Eagles proved that they're better on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, my mind was telling me to pick the Eagles. My gut was telling me to pick the Steelers. I was like, okay, the Eagles can be sloppy sometimes. The Eagles looked great in this game. Saquon was really hard to stop. Steelers put the ball on the ground a couple times. Yeah, and they did actually, have good plans for stopping Russell in this one.
Yeah, and then we got the Packers dumpstering the Seahawks. That was probably predictable. I assume you both picked the Packers.
Yes.
Not a lot to say about that one. Really hurt the Seahawks' chances to clinch the division.
Packers very good.
A few games left. Then we got the Bears getting annihilated. I think they're on like a 9-game losing streak now. against
Yeah,
the
the Bears
Vikings.
are really, really bad.
I remember there was a point where all the teams in their division had a winning record, and that was when they were like 4-2. They've lost like every game since then.
Yeah,
Crazy.
it's sad to see because they were actually looking like they could be good if just a couple things had broken different ways. I think they were the ones that lost the Hail Mary to the Commanders, right?
I don't know. They've lost a lot of close games.
Yeah,
Just like the
but
Jets.
the last several games they've just been a trash fire, quite honestly.
And then we got a pretty pathetic win over the Raiders here. Should have blown them out a lot harder. And then it breaks my heart to say that Kirk, at least for the moment, has been benched for the rest of the season.
Oh, has he? Okay.
Yeah, in favor of that Penix Jr. dude.
Yeah, I love that name.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah. On the other hand, like the Raiders, who were behind, who only had 3 points until like a few minutes left in the game, almost pulled out a great comeback at the end. Actually, got completely screwed by the refs on a very clean, soft hit, and lost 2 minutes of the clock. Atlanta getting to run the ball 3 more times. Yeah, very well could have won that game anyway after getting screwed by the refs.
And then, needless to say, all of the bad things I said would happen in Mahomes. Didn't have a great game, but they did not come to fruition.
Yeah, not even close. And Winston came close to that 5 turnovers. If only he had more time. Real quick on the Raiders. I don't know if you've seen this, but they've gotten Tom Brady onto their management team to help them select a new quarterback and probably run some other things with the organization.
Well, I know he's like a partial owner, but isn't that like a conflict of interest?
If he's also in the booth, you're saying?
Yeah, right?
And doing like press? Yeah, I don't know how they're going to work that out. I really don't know. But, the Raiders have made a lot of really clowny moves in the last few years. It feels like they're just looking for like a plug-and-play solution to be great. And news for you guys, at the Raiders organization, those don't exist in the NFL. You have to actually get a stable culture there. You have to build up talent, and you have to make smart moves that aren't necessarily flashy at first. Now, as far as Tom Brady, right, like, he's a very, clean type of person. He has a really good head on his shoulders. Obviously, he knows the quarterbacking game, better than almost anyone else. This is one of the more likely things to work. But, I mean, John Gruden, absolute clownery. Devontae Adams, absolute clownery. It's just that Jamarcus Russell, if you want to go back a little farther, absolute clownery.
All right, there's clowns.
You can't spring for these things, just giving up tomorrow, thinking you're going to be great today just because somebody looked good somewhere else. That's all I got to say about that. Tom Brady more likely to work, but I think this is an organization in absolute shambles.
Yeah, they suck. Okay, let's move on to Week 16.
Mm-hmm.
First up, Thursday night, in 10 minutes, basically, we got the Broncos and the Chargers.
Yeah.
I'm picking the Broncos for the rest of the season, basically.
Yeah, I had a really hard time picking this one. I actually, just in case we were going to miss our cast for the thing, I made my pick over Discord, so I can't change it now. I'm going with the Broncos. But yeah, I think this is a very close matchup. I think the Chargers are a very good team that have kind of folded against some of the best teams sometimes. Denver, I'm still not confident that they're as great as they look, but I love what I see there. I do.
All right, and then on Saturday we have 2 games. We got the Texans and the Chiefs. And what do you think about this one?
I'm picking the Chiefs. Obviously, they're the better team.
Well, I'm actually... We got to keep an eye on Mahomes' gimpy ankle because there could be a party in my future. But I have to go with the Texans, man. I think they're going to put Mahomes in the hospital. I like my chances.
Oh, is that your prop bet?
Mahomes carted off field. They got to get the stretcher and everything.
Mahomes transported in an auto.
They gotta get the go-kart. They gotta get the go-kart or the stretcher that keeps him motionless.
Honestly, in this matchup, I think the Chiefs can win without Mahomes. Houston has still been struggling a little bit. Nico Collins, even though he didn't have a lot of yards, was their out for getting the touchdowns in the last game. And even with him, it was a close game against a sloppy Miami.
We're going with the Texans.
What?
We're going with the Texans.
You're going with the Texans?
That's right, man.
Wow, you keep making this mistake, man.
I can afford one mistake a week.
Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and
expecting a different result. Yeah, I know, man. If the Chiefs were better, I'd never pick against them, but they suck. They're the worst 13-1 team of all time, man.
Minnesota might be about to be I guess they've got 2 losses, but Minnesota last year I think was the worst 13-1 team of all time.
All right, next up we got the rematch of the Steelers at Baltimore. I think the Steelers are going to come in clutch again. Do a repeat. Sweep them again.
You think the Steelers are going to win this?
Yes. They won last time. They won last time.
First of all, just to the Vikings fans out there who hear me, keep bagging on their great record, most teams would kill for 12-2, 13-1. No matter how you get it, you have to be a good team to put up that type of record. And the Vikes are a very good team. So my apologies to anybody who thinks I'm hating on them. Speaking of purple teams, the Ravens just look so good right now. I like the Steelers. I like what they've done. But look, I think the Ravens and the Eagles are fairly similar teams, and the Eagles just blew the Steelers out. I see no reason to think Baltimore can't do that.
Man, Steelers just got their number, right? They did it before.
Was it one game? I mean, you want to talk about teams who have other teams' numbers. Let's talk about the Bills and the Dolphins. Let's not talk about the Steelers and the Ravens here. They always fight each other hard. I think Baltimore is just really unbeatable by any team in the AFC right now, except Buffalo and possibly Kansas City.
The Steelers did beat them.
I know, but I think that Baltimore is unbeatable right now. I don't think the Steelers are going to beat them again.
All right, that's fair. Next up,
I know it was 1 month ago, but
we got the Giants at Atlanta. This will be a great game for this rookie dude to play in, I suppose. No pressure. He's probably only going to have to get 3 points to outscore the Giants' offense. So
Kirk could have definitely won this game by 2 or 3 points.
So even without Kirk, I think I have to pick the Falcons.
Yeah, the Giants have surprised us a couple times, but not often.
Exactly a couple times.
Yeah, there you go. It really looks like that they're just kind of outgunned and outmanned, particularly on offense and in every way that they can be by most of the other teams in the NFL. Atlanta's good enough to beat them, I think, and I don't think that. I'm sorry, man. I don't think that losing Kirk is going to hurt them that much.
I definitely think he'll be.
He has the entire problem with the offense.
I definitely think he'll be better with the deep throws. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, next up we got the Cardinals at Carolina. Right outside your new place, right? Is where they're playing this game.
Yeah. If I move to Carolina, I'm not going to be too far from the stadium in the middle of Charlotte.
You can hear all the booing from your window,
right? Depends on how loud they're booing.
I think
Carolina fans. I don't know for sure. I haven't met too many, but my guess is Carolina fans probably aren't so hardcore that they'd be booing their team the same way like the Jets or the Eagles would be.
I don't even know if the Panthers are from North or South Carolina. I want to say North.
They play in North Carolina.
Okay, then.
Charlotte, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to give this one to the Cardinals, though, just because with the Cardinals' season on the line and they have to win out to have a chance at the division, I'm going to say that Mr. Murray puts up some points this time around. Even though he sucked last week, he still won. Yeah,
I want to go spicy here, but I Arizona, honestly, in the last like several weeks, hasn't been necessarily as like crazy. They could beat anyone, they could lose to anyone as they were at the beginning of the season. Seems like they're kind of leveling out and beating the bad teams, and I do think that they're going to pull it off against Carolina. Carolina, once again, let's give them props. They've looked a lot better than they did when it looked like they should have just given up and tanked at the beginning of the season.
Yes, but they're still bad.
Yeah, we're both taking the Cardinals.
Yeah, Cowboys look dominant with their backup against them. Okay, next up, we got a blowout probably by the Lions here as the Bears just seem to be a depressed wreck. They're just waiting for a new season to start, I think. So, of course, picking the Lions. Even though when they played on Thanksgiving, it was very close.
Yeah, like Detroit's not going to be happy about their loss to the Bills this last week. Their offense is still pretty freaking unstoppable. And it's the real question is, are they going to score 40, 50, or 60 in their win against the Bears?
Yep. And then next up, we've got Shit Bowl 16 here. Titans at the Colts. This is actually really hard to because they're so equally bad, but not like they're like the next level right above dirt.
Do you have a problem with calling it the Toilet Bowl? Because like I think that's so clever.
The Toilet Bowl, huh? Okay,
Yeah,
Toilet Bowl 16. Who do you got for this one?
I have Indianapolis. I have pretty much any team in the league against the Titans right now, except the Raiders.
Well, I don't want to drop a game on such a stupid matchup. I think I'm going to pick the Colts too, even though I think the Titans have a good chance to win.
Okay, copycat.
Yeah, I think the Titans' defense is low key decent.
All right, I'll let you pick the next one. The LA Rams against the New York Giants, both coming off of close wins in Week 15. What you got?
This one, I'm definitely going for the Rams. I mean, they know the position they're at in the playoff hunt. I mean, they know they got to stay strong to like make the playoffs, wrap up the division. And yeah, I don't think the Rams have a good defense, so I think the Jets won't look pathetic, but I don't think they'll keep up with the Rams' offense.
The Rams absolutely have a good defense. They have multiple defensive players that are in the conversation for defensive rookie of the year and maybe even defensive player of the year.
Well, I haven't seen it, but whatever.
Yeah, the Rams' defense has been very good, with a couple of exceptions this season. I think they're going to dominate all phases of the game against the mostly hapless Jets, and I'm going to love to see it.
All right, we'll both pick the Rams. Next up, we've got the Eagles at Washington, and yeah, I think people were way more excited in the Redskins earlier in the season. It's like you said, are they good, bad, or great? I think they're just good, and I definitely don't think they're better than this incredibly dominant Eagles defense that's emerged the last month. So definitely got to pick the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm almost sure Philly won last time they played. God, in my heart, I'm rooting for the Commanders so much, but I think I'd be throwing away a game if I took them. Philly can be great or kind of poor.
Reminds me of that week when you were swearing up and down. You told me the Giants were going to beat the Bucks, and I was just laughing my ass off.
Yeah, well,
a few weeks
Kansas
ago.
City, man. Kansas City. The Eagles have looked great for several weeks running now. Commanders have just looked like an okay team. I feel confident picking the Eagles. I hope I'm wrong.
Okay, next up we got Cleveland at Cincinnati. We got a new quarterback with the Browns. I don't think the Bengals are going to run away with this one. Cleveland still has a very good defense. They're just like inept as hell on offense. But I do think the Bengals will probably come away with this. They're technically still in the playoff hunt somehow.
But in reality, they're not.
Yes, they're not, but their offense is legendary.
You got Cincy?
Yeah, their offense is just... They have a Super Bowl offense, man. It's just like their defense is just so bad.
Dorian showed some glimpses that were promising last week. I don't think he's there yet. I think Cincy's offense is going to do enough, even if the Browns get a few takeovers. I don't think they're going to be able to convert often enough. I think Cincinnati in a surprisingly low-scoring game.
Yeah, I mean, Cooper Rush threw like 3 touchdowns and 300 yards against the Bengals. So
Sure. I mean, who hasn't?
So I think maybe this kid's got a good rookie matchup. Got a real soft defense.
Watson might have even broken 200 against them.
Oh, no, man. I think if this was Watson, this would have been like a 30-something point game probably because both of them suck. Next up, we got the Vikings at Seattle. And they're definitely both going to be playing this game very hard. I just don't think the Seahawks have enough talent everywhere to beat the Vikings. Even though I think the Vikings aren't as good as their record indicates. But they're much better.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Geno Smith do well.
The Seahawks have been on a little bit of a slide recently. That they've won the games that they really didn't want to lose. But yeah, they got clowned on by the Packers.
I always like to see the older quarterbacks do well.
The Cardinals 2 weeks ago, right?
Say that again?
I think they did beat the Cardinals 2 weeks ago, right?
Cardinals or the Niners, you're right. Something like that, yeah. I forget.
Yeah. I mean, they're not a bad team, the Seahawks. But it's awfully hard to pick against 12-2. As much as I did not think that they actually had that many wins when they were on that like little mini slide a month ago or so. For whatever reason, my brain remembers it being longer. Yeah.
They'd be 14-0 if Kirk was still there.
I kind of want to pay you back for taking these insane picks like Houston, but
it's not that insane. It's not that insane. Houston's good.
Okay, fine. I'll take the Vikings.
Okay, but well, of course we're both going with the Vikings.
All right, now we've got New England and Buffalo. Do we need to talk about why Buffalo's going to win this?
Not really. I mean, the Bills are going to end the season with Patriots, Jets, Patriots. I mean, it's just a dream way to end out the season. They're just going to glide, or what is that, moon dance? What does Michael Jackson do? The moon dance?
It's the moonwalk.
Moonwalk, yeah, he's going to moonwalk into the playoffs with that.
The problem is, though, when you're moonwalking, you're kind of moving backwards, and the Buffalo's definitely not going to back into the playoffs.
No, what's going to happen is he'll snap it, turn around, then moonwalk, and then they'll part the Red Seas, and he'll actually be moonwalking towards their side of the field.
Well, I'll just like walk like an Egyptian, through the river into the playoffs.
If you turn around first, you're moonwalking forward.
Yeah.
So there you go.
No, I think you're just moonwalking backward in the other direction.
What I think is going to happen, and this is bad for my fantasy team, I think you're going to get a heavy dose of like James Cook, and I don't think Josh is going to put up probably more than 35, 40 points these last
They're not going to be
games.
able to like rest their players because they do want to try and catch Kansas City.
Yeah, that's my point. Yeah, but I don't think they're going to have to score much.
How many losses do they have right now? 2 or 3?
Bills have 3. Kansas has 1. So
okay, so they would need luck, but they do have the tiebreaker over Kansas City. So
yeah, but the rest of Kansas's games are all could be tough. They have Houston this week, then they have the Steelers, and then they have Denver. So it could happen.
If they beat Houston, I think Buffalo starts looking at resting players. Maybe, but yeah. Either way, Buffalo's should have an easy 3 wins. Going into the playoffs.
Yep. Okay. Oh, my bad. Maybe this was Toilet Bowl 16. We got more combined losses than the Colts.
Oh, yeah. This is Toilet Bowl. At least Indianapolis is in
my bad. My bad. That was Toilet Bowl 16.5. This is Toilet Bowl 16. Jags and Raiders at Las Vegas. Who has the edge? Is it Mac Jones-led Jags, or is it the whoever the hell is playing for the Raiders?
It's definitely not whoever the hell is playing for the Raiders. Mac has not looked great. Obviously, did put up some good points against the Jets, but it was throwing some weak balls when it really counted. Still,
after that,
their favor is they are not the Raiders. The Raiders remind me of like the old Raiders from 20 years ago, who would literally like have 2 receivers run the same route and clunk heads.
Well, after that 45-minute speech you gave about how 12 people the Raiders have are garbage, I'm going to have to pick the Jags. You
Yeah,
convinced
I,
me.
I don't blame you. It,
Well,
the
if not
Raiders,
nothing, if not nothing for the fact that Mac Jones has at least been in charge of the offense for like 3 or 4 consecutive weeks.
you're right. That's more than we could say for Las Vegas here. Their management is so bad that the players are playing hard. Even the coaching, I don't think has been so bad during the game, but you can tell they're just kind of not prepared. There's a lot of cases, I think, where they're taking delay of game penalties. On fourth down, not where they're just trying to punt and get an easier punt, but where it's actually clutch to snap the ball and get 3 yards. Um, it's just a disorganized team with a horrible management. Take Jacksonville every time here.
All right, and then our last evening game, we have the Niners at Miami, and
Was it Sunday night?
no, this is not Sunday night. The next one is, but
Oh, okay. This is the last of the 4:15 games.
yeah.
Yeah.
And how do you like the Dolphins' chances against this? I mean, both teams are essentially eliminated, but all but in name.
Yeah, I get you. Miami tends to do well in these games that like either don't matter or matter and give them the chance to absolutely choke in Week
Yeah,
18.
I feel like both teams want a feel-good win.
Yeah, San Francisco is not a bad team right now, nor are they very good. Kind of the same with Miami.
Yeah, it's crazy how the Niners season is going. It's heartbreaking.
I feel like this
Super
is close
Bowl.
to a 50-50. I'm going to be a homer and take the Dolphins here.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins' offense is going to spike back up too.
They look really good in points, especially when they're doing kind of the short yard stuff now. What's really been surprising is how much Tyreek has just fallen out of their offense. I know that, part of the strategy is to get him double teamed and then just make a quick pass to either a Chin or Washington or one of the, lower tier receivers, Waddle if he's not injured. But it really has been very surprising how little Tyreek has actually gotten the ball in their offense.
I want to talk. Gotten the ball. That Mostert guy went from 22 touchdowns to we've seen him on the field, right?
Mostert?
Yeah, like 22 touchdowns last season.
He had a couple of bad fumbles and missed shortage downs, and you look at just Devin Achane and how good he is, and it's hard to justify running Mostert, who's also pretty good.
All right, in the actual night game, we have the Bucks at Dallas.
Yep.
The Dallas defense has actually come alive the last month, but that doesn't mean I think they're going to win this.
Yeah, you gotta come up with a better tagline than Baker been bacon. That was not your best work, but you have convinced me that the Bucs offense is superb, and the Dallas D is not going to be able to stop an offense like that.
I think it'll actually be a surprisingly close game because the Cowboys just have that umph for no reason, even though when they're pathetic, they have the umph for some reason. But yeah, I have to pick the Bucs.
I feel like they have the umph against bad teams, and the Buccaneers are surprisingly not that.
So I'm picking the Bucs too. And then to close it out on Monday night, of course, we got to pick the Packers. It'd be insane to pick the Saints.
It would. I wanted one more game that we diverged on, but this would be dishonest to pick the Saints.
Yes.
Green Bay, just a very good team overall. Seem to have their stuff just well together. They run the team well. They make smart decisions. They don't lose games that they're not supposed to lose, and this is a game they're not supposed to lose.
All right. And then my prop pick for this week is I'm going to say the Cowboys get 3 interceptions, or pick Baker off 3 times.
Wow, Baker been begging. Wow. Okay. Say Dallas 3-ints.
Not very exciting. Make it 4.
All right, let's make it 4.
Yeah, 3's not exciting enough.
Even more impossible. I have the Rams win by 20 or more points over the Aaron Rodgers-led Jets.
Oh, that's lame. Make it 28.
28? Fine, I'll give you a weird-looking 8. 23. 23 or more.
Okay.
It's at least, more than 3 touchdowns.
All right, well, that does it for Week 16, which started probably 5 minutes ago. And we'll see you guys next time.
All right.